Lloyd is a kind kid, destined to become an S-rank hero. His mother was a monster and was deleted by a group of Dizians, a half-elf race who were after a powerful gem that Lloyd was born with. He never met his father, who was half-god, but he was taken in by a caring dwarf blacksmith who taught him forging. He worked hard to make a beautiful necklace for his best friend and longtime crush, Kalei. She was an orphan who had been adopted, but their world was in danger of crumbling. The only way to save it was for Khalid to offer herself up as a sacrifice to the gods, becoming an angel that could restore the world. Khalid agreed to her fate, wanting him to live in a safe place where he could be happy. In class, Lloyd can't concentrate as his thoughts are with Khalid who isn't here. He is really anxious because she needs to be at the church to begin her mission to save the world, and he has to decide if he wants to join her. Suddenly, Lloyd felt a sharp pain in his hand, and at the same time, a brilliant light shone from the church. He, his buddy Gennis, and their teacher Rain quickly ran towards it to make sure Kalei was safe. Kalei sees Ramil, an angel descending from the light. He explains to her that she needs to go to the Tower of Salvation to save the world. To do this, she must unlock 3 seals that bind the tower. All she has to do is pray at the right places, and each seal will bring her closer to becoming an angel with divine powers. Ramil then casts a spell and puts a collar around her neck, allowing her to access the seals and unlock them. Ramil departs, and just seconds later, the window shattered, arrows flying in with the intention of ending her life. The priests bravely shield her, taking the hit and urging her to run and hide. The Dachshunds then burst into the church, overpowering the guards as they start to close in. Lloyd and his group come to the rescue. He fearlessly charges at the Dachshunds, sliding on the ground to dodge their attacks until he grabs 2 swords from the ground. Suddenly, Kratos appears and helps them defeat their foe in no time. The last bad guy was about to attack Kalei, but Lloyd stepped in and shielded her. His gem started to shine brightly, and he felt immense strength. In a split second, he used his newfound power to fling the enemy up into the sky and slice him. With Khalid safe, the group returns home to plan their journey to save the world. Lloyd got a stern scolding from his adoptive dad, who had warned him never to use his gem. He was finally told the truth about his mother, something he had forgotten due to the shock of the trauma. He then met Kalei and told her that he wanted to join her group as he wanted to both protect her and take revenge on the Dachshunds. The following day, Lloyd awoke to find that Khalid had gone, leaving him in grief with only a letter she had written to explain that she didn't want him to get hurt and that she wanted him to live a happy life, assuring him that they would always be together in her heart. Lloyd felt sad and downhearted until Gennis arrived at his house, informing him that the Dachshunds were attacking the village and looking for him. Lloyd and Gennis rushed to save the villagers from the Dachshund forces who were burning everything to the ground and taking hostages. The Dachshund leader boasted about how great his race is compared to humans and challenged Lloyd to a duel. Despite his best efforts, Lloyd couldn't keep up with the Dachshund's strength and skill and was sent flying into a wall. This made the gem Lloyd was carrying glow, giving him the motivation to fight back. Even with newfound strength, Lloyd still couldn't match the Dachshund's power. The Dachshund stopped playing around and used his powerful weapon attached to his arm to completely destroy Lloyd. A tremendous explosion happened, wiping out everything in the vicinity. Lloyd's thoughts started to break apart, sending him to a place where he could see a ghost. It was his mother's spirit telling him to protect those he cared about. His mother's spirit began to glow and returned to the gem, forming a shield to protect him from the blasts. The gem unleashed a magical beam, hitting the Dachshund with an immense force, killing him. The following day, Lloyd visited his mom's grave, expressing his gratitude for her final act of protection. Deciding to depart with Gennis and Rain, Lloyd's dad arrived with a parting gift, 2 specially crafted swords designed to keep those he loved safe. Lloyd and Gennis eventually managed to catch up with Kalei's group in the desert at night. They explained to the trio about the Dachshunds who had attacked their village, and so they decided to join forces and help their best friend save the world. The group arrived at some ancient ruins, and Khalid used her special collar to open the doors. As soon as they went inside, the doors shut, letting them know that they could only leave once Kalei had unlocked the seal. The collar crystal lit up and released fiery flames that encircled the group and the altar, awakening a fearsome creature that they had to fight. Kalei prayed, and in a flash, the beast disappeared, and the first seal was broken. Ramil showed up and gave Khalid some power and wings, but she ended up fainting right away. So they decided to take a break at the next town's hotel, and Lloyd practiced with Kratos while Kalei got better. Kalei regained her strength, and they continued on their journey, taking a boat to their next destination. When they arrived, they came face to face with another monstrous creature. Kratos and Lloyd teamed up and used a double slash attack to defeat it, unlocking the next seal. But the Dachshunds came to stop her mission and wanted to kill her. She and Kratos headed up to the rooftop so that Kalei could use her divine powers to put an end to their enemies. Khalid unleashed her amazing powers and began to sing a beautiful song. Suddenly, feathers started to fall from the sky, and they touched the Dachshunds, draining their strength. Lloyd was worried and tried to stop her because the angel had warned that Khalid's body wasn't strong enough to use the angelic powers. She stopped singing and looked at him. To his shock, her eyes were empty, as if she had gone blind. The Dachshunds regained their strength and came after the group, intending to kill them. Fortunately, a mysterious ninja named Sheena appeared and guided them through a sewer system to safety. Lloyd inquired why she, a complete stranger, would help them. Sheena then revealed her true purpose. She was from a parallel world connected to this one, and her mission was to kill Kalei to save her own world. She explained that when one of the worlds starts to thrive, the other one begins to crumble. If Kalei becomes an angel, she will be able to save this world, but at the same time, it will destroy the other. Sheena lunged at Lloyd, waving a talisman that detonated and sent him flying into a pillar. Kratos jumped in, wielding his sword handle, and kicked her away. Sheena retaliated by conjuring up more talismans, but Kratos quickly responded with a lightning bolt from his hand, obliterating the paper. He then advanced on her, pushing her to the ground and pointing his sword at her neck. Lloyd, however, showed mercy and stopped Kratos from killing her since she had saved them once. They left the place. Rain used her magic powers to help Kalei recover, and soon enough, Kalei was back to her old self. At night, the group was resting on a mountain when Lloyd woke up to discover Kalei had disappeared. He was anxious and worried, but Kratos reassured him and told him where she was. He walked up to her and handed her a cup of her favorite tea. She started to sing a song for him, but he noticed that she wasn't tired or drinking the tea like she usually did. He asked her what was wrong, and she then confessed something she had never told anyone before. Whenever they unlocked a seal, she would lose her senses and her humanity. After unlocking the first seal, she had stopped needing to eat or sleep, and when the second seal was broken, she lost her senses and couldn't feel heat, cold, or pain. Lloyd couldn't comprehend why she had never shared this with him. She hadn't wanted to burden him and hadn't told anyone, but she was willing to sacrifice everything to save the world. Tears streamed down Lloyd's face. He was sad that she had to endure so much pain. He embraced her, and she thanked him for his tears since she no longer had the ability to cry. The following day, they arrived at a village that had been assaulted by the Dachshunds. Sheena was there, having bravely attempted to defend the people, but she was totally worn out. They cared for her injuries and listened to her story. She told them the Dachshunds had a base where they were probably holding the kidnapped villagers, and so the group decided to take her along with them. Once they arrived at Asgard base, they were quickly captured, all because of Sheena's clumsiness. She had accidentally pressed a button to show that she was more capable than that. Sheena used a special summoning technique to call forth her second guardian, and the guardian fought off the Dachshunds, creating a path for the group to go and rescue the villagers. But when they entered, Lloyd got separated from the others. He slipped through a closing door and had to continue his mission alone. Rain managed to save some of the villagers with her newfound skill in the computer and security system. She used her knowledge to sneak into the system and release the prisoners. Meanwhile, Lloyd discovered a laboratory where humans seemed to be in long sleep inside pods. Kever, Another of the Dachshund leaders appeared and explained what was happening. They were creating gems from people they had kidnapped. Lloyd's mother was one of the laboratory subjects who managed to escape with the most powerful gem. Lloyd was furious that Kever had mentioned his mother. After he had killed her, he lunged at him, but Kever left onto the pond. He then told Lloyd that it wasn't him who had killed his mother, but rather Lloyd's father. Kever explained that the gem had made his mother crazy, it had transformed her into a monster. His mother had been consumed by it and, in the end, was killed by the one she had loved the most. Lloyd couldn't accept what he was being told, it couldn't possibly be true. He started to swing his sword, trying to activate his gem powers. Kever dodged and evaded, pushing Lloyd to the ground and shocking him with electricity. He was ready to end it and reclaim his gem, but Kratos came in using powerful magic to stop him. With a look of hate in his eyes, Kratos lunged forward and stabbed Kever in the chest as if he was getting revenge. Lloyd tried to discard the gem, thinking it might turn his mom into a monster, but Kratos knew the gem had to stay with them if they were to protect Kalei. So he grabbed it, and they moved on to the next altar. Kalei unlocked the last seal, receiving even more amazing powers. Before their final Lloyd took a moment to rest, sitting atop a cliff. Lloyd was feeling rather down on himself, but Kalei was right there with him. He asked her if she could sing, hoping it would clear his mind of all his depressing thoughts. But instead of replying, she just smiled sadly. It was then that he realized that she lost her voice, and she wrote on his hand that she was sorry. His tears started to flow, and he couldn't stop himself from hitting himself in sadness. He felt foolish for being so selfish. She holds him tight to soothe his sorrow. He decides to go back to Kratos to get his gem back. He draws out his swords, determined to get stronger. He is determined to stay near her and protect her, and if she can't feel, he'll do it for her. If she can't talk, he'll talk for her. If she can't smile, he'll do it for her. The group decided to take a break before they set off to the Tower of Salvation. However, Khalid and Kratos secretly left in the dead of night, not wanting anyone else to know. Lloyd wakes up feeling his gem activate and notices the two are gone. Desperate to catch them, the group starts running, but Rain stops him, saying he shouldn't proceed. She informs him that the Kalei he would find would be a different one, given she is destined to become an angel, and her body will be possessed by the goddess Martel. She asked Lloyd to pick to save Kalei or the world, but he turns his back. He will keep moving, he will protect her. She has always been fighting alone and losing herself to save the world. Nobody is there to fight for her, to protect her, but he will. He will be by her side and be the one who holds her hand when she feels lost. A guy called Yuan arrives dressed up as a Dachshund. He introduces himself as the leader of a group called the Renegades, who are battling the Dachshunds. He wanted to prevent Khalid from becoming an angel and invited them to come with him to the tower to stop the process. The group arrives at the tower, but they find Kratos standing in their way. Lloyd asks Kratos to save Kalei, but he discloses his real self, an angel called Seraphim. He belongs to Cruxus, a group devoted to Martel, and their sole mission is to bring their god back to life. Yuan challenges Kratos, while the others hurry inside to prevent Kalei from becoming an angel. When they get to the very top of the tower, they spot Kalei floating in the air. Lloyd carefully makes his way towards her and is about to reach out when she speaks. She thanks him for all the times he had been by her side and says that was the only reason she wanted to save the world. Tears start to stream down her face, and that's all the prompting Lloyd needs to race towards her, his hand outstretched, remembering all their shared memories. But she says goodbye, and her soul seems to fade away. He shouts for her to turn her back to normal, but the angel sadly informs him that Khalid has already passed away. Lloyd's heart shatters, and he drops his swords, not believing that he will never be able to bring her back. Rain tries to get away with Kalei, but Genis and Rain attack to stop him. They encourage Lloyd not to give up, and his gem activates again, hearing the words of his mother to protect the ones who mean the world to him. He looks at Kalei, closes his eyes, and stands still, as if he was building his courage and determination to protect her. He picks up his swords, ready to challenge Rain. It doesn't matter if it's an angel or a god, he will fight him and take Kalei back. The world may end, but he will keep her safe until his last breath. Rain attacks him with magic, but he is able to resist. His body starts to glow brightly, and he unleashes a powerful energy attack from a single swing of his swords. The angel's holy shield is smashed, and he is sent flying as the angel crashes into the ceiling. Pieces of vines start to fall, threatening to hit Khalid's lifeless body. In a split second, Lloyd heroically jumps in to save her, shielding her with his own body. He awakes later at the Renegade's base to discover that he had killed the angel, but Kalei is still not back to her old self. Sheena aids the group in escaping from Yuan, and she informs them that there is a way to restore Kalei to her former self, but it can only be done in Sheena's world. Watch